I just want you to know and listen to this example that if you want a special family, if you want a special brokerage, if you want a special life, do two things. Tell people they are special, then teach them what that means. Now, I want to share with you pretty quickly 6 things that I learned from the Marine Corps that I observed, and then I'll apply them to you. You see, the Marine Corps to me has 6 things about it that I think are noteworthy. Number 1, it's an all-elite volunteer group. You see, from that first night in Tongue Tavern when they started taking sign-ups, would you like to join the Continental Marine Corps? It's been a volunteer military force from the day one. Now, number 1, I want to recognize that our current military is all volunteer. Do you think there's a reason it's so good? Because every man and woman across there doing what they're doing today is there because they chose to be there. They could be back here selling real estate with us, but they chose to be there. But the Marine Corps has been that way from the beginning. That probably didn't hurt that it was in a bar. I bet you to this day, Bill, there's still people, young men, that go out drinking and wake up in the Marine Corps. Holy cow. All volunteer group. Men and women who said, I want to be there. I want to be a part of that. I think that's special. And there's only been 2 times, one in World War II and one during Vietnam, where they allowed draftees to be put in the Marine Corps. I served with some of those drafted Marines, and they had an attitude problem. They didn't want to be there. Well, the number 2 thing is that they are completely trained. Now, I say completely trained. Now, what I mean by that is that they're not partially trained. You see, this is a life and death deal we're involved here. Completely trained in the Marine Corps. You see, I went through the 13 weeks of basic training. Then we went off to advanced infantry training up at Camp Pendleton. It was absolutely the most fun I've ever had as a kid. Can you imagine a 19-year-old kid being able to go out in the field and shoot bazookas and throw hand grenades and Tommy guns? Oh my God, it was great. But we were trained how to use these weapons. You see, here's one thing that's unique about the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps says, because we're first to fight, every Marine will be first a basic rifleman. Every one. So it doesn't matter what you become in the Marine Corps. You could be a cook and baker, work in the motor pool. It doesn't matter. Every Marine is taught to be a basic rifleman. We know how to work it all. So in those shift moments, SHF, when stuff hits fan, because I'll guarantee you, in the military, stuff will hit the fan. The Marine Corps says everyone will be trained to be a basic rifleman, so no matter what happens, we withdraw. No matter where it is, what time, we can withdraw, pick up any weapon, and resist. That's pretty cool, to be completely trained. After that, I went back to San Diego for more training in electronics. Then I was sent to Fort Bliss, Texas, where I learned the Hawk missile system. And it was a year and a half. I'd only signed up for 3 years. Didn't work out that way, but I signed up for 3 years. And a year and a half later, I finally went to my duty station. First one in a Hawk missile battalion, 29 Palms, California. A year and a half they invested in me, Johnny, to train me to do what I was doing. For a year and a half left. But I guarantee you, when they put us on that ship and we went overseas, and when that Marine battalion landed at Da Nang Air Force Base in Vietnam, then they took us in trucks and put us up on a hill that had been shelling for 2 weeks, and put us up on that hill and said, gentlemen, create a perimeter defense, get those missiles up. The reason we were there is because Da Nang Air Base was a big asset. And we didn't want some MiG driver flying down there dropping a pumpkin on it. So we have all of these missiles set up and ready to go. A year and a half of training to be there to have these missiles up protecting Da Nang Air Force Base. That's completely trained. And on top of that, we didn't get to shoot many missiles. But the Viet Cong wanted our missiles, so all day long we would sit, we could see them at the bottom of the hill. There were as many of them as us. And at night they'd come up the hill and throw rockets and satchel charges and they'd try to get our missiles. I told them a couple of times, I said, hey fellas, I'm a missile technician. What am I doing in this foxhole? Didn't seem to matter. Completely trained, well equipped. You know, I look at these young Marines on TV that are walking around in Afghanistan, and I see these big old heavy, longer helmets. I see Kevlar flak jackets. I see night vision stuff. I see stuff hanging on them. I'm sitting there on those poor boys, my God, and then it's 110 degrees. It's got to be 185 inside all that crap, and they're walking around with all this equipment on. Now, some of you are like me, I'm old Corps. We walked around Vietnam in our loose-fitting jackets that didn't tuck in, you know. And I think still today, if I were there, I would say, look, you can keep all this crap. I want 2 extra canteens and 4 extra magazines of 7.62 millimeter. That's what I want. A couple extra grenades. Well equipped, however. Everything these people could want, they have. Because you see, they're getting ready. Now, they're getting ready for what? It's an organization that honors teamwork like I've never seen it. Teamwork rules in the Marine Corps. Working together a team like you do on your volleyball teams and your soccer teams, girls. Working together as a team. But I'll tell you, there's not an organization I've ever seen that took all of the me out of it and just replaced it with we. Immediately. There was no me in it. Excuse me, Sarge. Didn't work. They couldn't care less. If I want anything out of you, Marine, I'll unscrew your head and dip it out.